For over a century now, building weapons has meant building factories, massive factories, 1,000-acre footprints, billion-dollar contracts, multi-year timelines, centralized supply chains feeding a single assembly line that no one else could replicate. That model, though, has been challenged. In Ukraine, right now, thousands of desktop 3D printers are running around the clock. A lot of them are the same machines that hobbyists run in their basements. They're producing interceptor drones, real weapons deployed in real combat by the hundreds per day. Defense Express has a phrase for it, a decentralized military conveyor belt. Now that's not a metaphor, that's actually the new shape of manufacturing. At Vision Miner, we've spent nearly a decade helping aerospace and defense teams print the parts that conventional manufacturing can't keep up with. Drones are the fastest moving frontier in that world, and what's been happening since 2024 is genuinely unprecedented. The 3D printed drone market was $700 million in 2024. It's projected to hit $3.25 billion by 2032. That's a 21% annual growth rate driven almost entirely by a fundamental shift in where drones get made. So here's how drone manufacturing used to work. Basically a defense prime, which would be a large manufacturer like Northrop Grumman or Lockheed Martin. They would design a platform, and then they would contract out the tooling to a small handful of qualified suppliers. Lead times were measured in months, and unit costs assumed a long production run to amortize that tooling, basically to make up for the cost of everything that takes. Now, if your enemy started flying something new, all of a sudden you were 18 months behind, minimum. Now that model worked when the threat moved slowly, but it does not work when the threat is an Iranian-designed drone showing up at 1,000 every single month. In June of 2025 alone, Russia launched over 5,000 Shahed-style drones. Now you cannot wait 18 months for a counter system at that pace. So Ukraine did something different. A company called Wild Hornets built a dedicated 3D print farm, desktop machines from companies like Bamboo and Elegoo and other consumer-grade brands. And they started producing roughly 100 interceptor drones per day. Now, they'd use engineering polymers in the airframes, in-house made electronics, and they'd actually deploy this into real combat. Now, the entire production system fits inside of what used to pretty much be a hobbyist workshop. Then, SkyFall took the same idea and they scaled it. Their P1-Sun interceptor is a 3D printed drone with a top speed of 280 miles an hour, 450 kilometers an hour, and a ceiling just over 3 miles high, about 5,000 meters. It's being produced at thousands of units per month. Design updates come directly from the troops flying them, so feedback on a Tuesday becomes a printed update on a Friday. So quickly into why this even works. Drones specifically are weight critical. Every single gram that you can save is a second of flight time. It's funny because Patrick and I actually met through the drone store he had at the time, about almost 10 years ago. Now, 3D printing can actually let you cut 20 to 40% out of a frame's mass. Like you can use designs that you could never make with traditional manufacturing. So Skydio took the X2 from 17 separate parts down to a single integrated structure. Drones are also iteration critical. When the cost of being wrong drops to a few hours of print time, then you can try designs that traditional manufacturing would have never funded. It wouldn't have made sense. Now, both of these deserve their own dedicated breakdown. And we've actually got videos coming on both of those topics. For now, just know that the modern drone is essentially designed to be 3D printed, which is why the print farm model works and why no other manufacturing process could replace it. Now, this is where we at Vision Miner sit in that picture. Our 22 IDEX right here prints the same engineering polymers, ULTEM 9085, carbon fiber nylon, PEEK, PPS, polycarbonate, you name it, literally all of them on the market, that aerospace and defense teams need and have used for years for flight-ready parts. It's got 500 Celsius hot ends, 100 Celsius actively heated chamber, and a completely open material system, meaning you can print any filament on the market as long as it's 1.75 millimeters, which is almost all of them. There's no RFID lockouts, no proprietary stuff that you have to do, nothing like that. A small fleet of these doesn't need to be a 1,000-acre factory. It needs a clean workshop and a decent power circuit, or a generator, or a really big battery pack. Now that's industrial capability without the industrial price tag. The same model reshaping defense manufacturing right now. Now, the most extreme version of this idea is the Cummins Aerospace Hellhound S3, a fully 3D printed turbojet-powered loitering munition. It goes 384 miles an hour. It's designed for long-range precision strikes against armored vehicles and fortified positions. The first test flight was in 2025. Now, the special thing is the entire airframe is additively manufactured, the whole platform. Now, because the drone is built for one-way missions, the low unit cost matters more than just about anything else. 3D printing is really the only way to hit that price point in the low to medium volume production. They're not making millions of these. They're going to change it and iterate it before they hit those numbers. Now, that's the moment when the technology stops being great for prototyping and it becomes the only manufacturing process that fits the mission. Now, the US government is definitely paying attention to this. I was in Boston last week and Rapid TCT, and I sat in some very interesting panels with the military personnel. Now, specifically, the Army's Sprint program is explicitly restructuring drone procurement around fast, on-demand, additive production. At Rapid TCT, the military presenters showed AI-generated drone designs that were validated with digital twins and then printed for field tests, compressing what used to be multi-month engineering cycles down into days. The DoD has already delivered industrial-scale 3D printers to Ukraine for spare parts production in the middle of the war. And back in February of 2025, AeroVironment received $288 million for their Switchblade loitering munition order under a multi-year $990 million Army contract. And then you've got Aurora Flight Sciences, Boeing, Rapid Flight, Northrop Grumman, Skydio, BAE Systems, General Atomics. Every single major defense player is building toward distributed additive production right now because the model works. Now, you don't have to be building drones to take this seriously. Distributed manufacturing, low volume economics, in-house production, iteration cycles measured in hours instead of months. These principles apply to every industry that's ever been told that their parts have to come from one supplier with a 6-month lead time. Now, what Ukraine accelerated under wartime pressure, every commercial manufacturer is going to face in the next decade. The ones who figure out distributed additive production now won't get caught flat-footed when their supply chain breaks and they can't get parts. Here at Vision Miner, we help engineering teams figure out which materials, which machines, and which processes actually fit their application, from FDM to SLA and SLS up to our own 22 IDEX and even the Aeon 3D High-Low for the really big high-temp parts. Defense, aerospace tooling, medical devices, drones, we see it all every single day. It actually makes this a pretty awesome job to have. So head over to visionminer.com, check out the full machine lineup, the engineering polymer catalog. We have just about everything on the market, from ULTEM to PEEK to PPS to polycarb to carbon fiber nylon, you name it. We've got everything. But give us a call, shoot us an email. We help people figure this out every single day for their businesses. And if it makes dollars, it makes sense. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on 3D printed drones in wartime conditions. Have a positive rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.